So, President Harry S. Truman helped the Jebusites once he recognized Israel as the sovereign state. President Truman helped make Israel a part of the United Nations. President Eisenhower also was a pawn for the Jebusites in 1956, $500 million of taxpayers' money. President Nixon was in favor of the illegal and immoral theft of the Palestine by the Jebusites in 1981 AD. President Reagan made a covenant of support for the state of Israel where the United States would protect Israel for a period of 7 years. Although power is passed on to Israel, there is still no other country which can compare with the United States in wealth or power. After former President George Bush was sworn into office, the Jebusite has been losing his power. Their time is up, and the South got in power and the Republicans in office. You saw a rise in war in Israel. Former President Bush told the Jebusites to withdraw their troops from Israel, and the Jebusites told them no. Things were at a standoff for the Jebusites, but just because the focus is off of them for a while doesn't mean he is resting in his devilishment. And they worship the human beast, saying, "Who is like this human beast? No nation can be compared to the United States. Its culture and influence dominates the whole world. Who is able to fight with him, with nation is able to wage war against America and its Jebusite allies and win." Then he, the Jebusite, was given a mouth and a place in the United Nations on May 11, 1949 AD, when they became a member of the United Nations and authority was given to them. Even though they had not complied with the United Nations resolution, they were still granted the favor of becoming a member to do things for 42 months, which is 3.5 years. And he, the Jebusite, opened his mouth once it obtained a place in the United Nations. He used his position to assert his own philosophies in order to reach his goal, that of securing his so-called homeland, blaspheming against Yahweh of the Elohim, using the United Nations as an open forum to speak out as if he were supreme. And he blasphemed his name in his tabernacle and the dwellers of the Orion skies. And he, the Jebusite, was given the right to take over Palestine from the natives and kill. They were given permission to take Palestine from the original inhabitants and settle within the area, pushing them out in war with the natives who tried to retaliate against the actions of the Jebusites. They had the right to kill the holy ones, the 144,000, and to conquer them. Once he relieves the power of our teachings, he will try to stop the propagation of right knowledge, right wisdom, leading to right understanding and sound right reasoning, and a pure heart, nuwapu. Authority was given over tribes and nations of people and tongues in every Gentile nation. The U.S. gave Jebusite the power in the United Nations to do as they pleased to inhabitants of other countries like Lebanon, Palestine, Syria, and Ethiopia. And all on earth worshipped him, the U.S., in its pale Jebusite image of Jesus. In worshiping this image of the fake Messiah Jesus, you're actually worshiping the Jebusite, the Christians in Jebusite, which names are not written in the scroll of life of the Lamb, and the original seed who was slaughtered since the formation of the world, since Kadmon and the Cabal, aka Adam and Eve, sons when Cain slew his brother Abel. Whoever is meant to be imprisoned because they did not die right away will be imprisoned without a fair trial. Those who are killed right away or carted away like animals to unsanitary prisons, and whoever is to be killed by a sword, then he should be killed by the sword. And now on, right here are the holy ones, their patience and faith, because when things get bad, we are the only ones who stay. Only those with perseverance and endurance will be able to survive the hardships and tribulations and remain amongst the faithful up until the time of ease. And another beast raised from out of the planet Earth, reason Earth, because that this beast took his leadership and it wasn't given power by the people. He had two horns representing many antichrists or many daggles who have been in power throughout time around the world from both religious and political areas. They rise up in power and fool people by their meekness and supposedly good intentions. They appear as lambs, innocent and genuine for masses of people, but in actuality and reality, they are frauds. They are wolves, right? Wolves in sheep clothing. I know you heard Granny say that. Two of the daggles are John F. Kennedy, the 35th president, and Pope Paul VI. Both were in power during the birth of the Antichrist. These two horns represent the division of church and state, right? John F. was a Catholic, the first Catholic president. Bet y'all ain't know that. It was pleasant and likable demeanor that captivated both Caucasians and Nubians. Yet it was JFK responsible for starting the Vietnam Wars, right? And funds to NASA for travel in space and shit, right? And Pope Paul VI was the first pope in the U.S. October 4th, 1965 AD. Pope Paul VI visited for 13 hours under the pretense that it was a personal appeal to the United Nations for peace. Pope Paul VI, like other popes, made extensive use of his power to control not only the religious faction of the state, but also the decisions which are made by the political heads of the various countries around the world. These two horns also represent the first seats of power from America to the Jebusite, and now the Jebusite to America, right? The world will think there he is humble and gentle like a lamb. Yet he, the Jebusite, speaks out like the beast, America. And he, the Jebusite, exercised all the authority of the first beast, America, because America backs them between his hands under the power of the U.S. and make all on earth worship the first beast who was healed of the damage during the Great Depression of 1929 to 1937. And he, the Jebusite, made great signs to the world so that he was able to send down fire from the skies upon the earth to the Middle Eastern of the nations of people. They claimed this war was religious and that they wanted to regain the holy land of Canaan. One of the greatest lies ever told. The Palestine War was not about religion, it was about politics and economic power and money, like all wars.